Hello everyone, it's Julie from Camelia Crafts Designs. Welcome and welcome back. I'm starting a new project today. I'm going to show you how to construct this junk journal trifold folio. Yeah, you can decorate it as you choose. I'll be using graphic 45 design papers. This first video just covers the construction of the book, how to strengthen it and what you will need. You'll be able to skip ahead to the bits you need to see. So let's crack on with it. So here's what I'm going to be using. I've got some grey board that you can use for covers. You can use old book covers, anything. I'm going to be using some of this 12 by 12 inch sheets of chipboard. You can get these on Amazon. The reason I'm using them is because I already have them from my mini album days. And I know a lot of you people in the US might have a lot of these. It's a lot cheaper over there than it is here. I'll show you how to cut it so that you can get the whole project from one sheet of 12 by 12. But don't worry if you haven't got any 12 by 12 chipboard. Any of these will do. Yeah, I've made covers with all these. I never throw these away. These are the backs of paper pads. What was that one? Yeah, that was paper pad from Works. That one, I've kept it even though it's got a crease because I'll be able to use that bit. Yeah. So, because my intention is once I've used up all my new stuff, I won't be buying any more. So this will be what I'm using next. So I'm already hoarding that. Right. So I'm going to be decorating it with some graphic 45 papers from 2015. Yes, you heard that right. I'm a bit of a hoarder of these. I got these cheap at the time. And I don't use them often enough. So this is the one I'm going to use. You can make this project with any paper you choose. Just because that blocks my light, I'll show you a bit sideways. Yeah, it's like a French Marie Antoinette type paper pad. I like it. I don't like a lot of the fronts, but I do like some of the backs. You get 3 sheets of each pad in these. Well, I don't even know whether you can get this anymore, so that's how unimportant it is that you use the same paper as me. Use what you like. There'll be nothing in this project that dictates you need to use a particular paper. I've also got some stickers that go with that, and I've got some chipboard pieces and cut apart, so I'll be using them as my ephemera. You use anything you want. If you like to buy digital kits, use one of those. If, like me, you've got all this stuff hanging about, use that. Right, let's get on with the cutting. that sounds very sinister, doesn't it? And now onto the cutting. So there's my sheet chipboard. I'll put that there while I organise myself and zoom in a smidgen. And you can take a screenshot. So if you are using the 12 by 12 chipboard, you'll know exactly how to cut it down. If I don't even need to zoom in, you can see it, can't you? Yeah, you can. Right, I cut my chipboard with a rotary trimmer. This is mine. You can see it's had a lot of hammer. I've had it a lot of years. That's because I'm an absolute nightmare when it comes to using a craft knife and scissors, craft knife and ruler. You cut it however you want. So you can see you can start here by cutting across there or cutting down there. So I'll put the measurements of the actual chipboard on. It is 12 by 12 inches, yeah? So I'm going to cut it at 5 inches. No, actually I'm going to cut it at 7, silly woman. It doesn't matter. You're left with a piece that's 7 by 12 and a piece that's 5 by 12. So which you do first matters not a jot. That's much safer for my fingers. So the shorter piece, which is 5 by 12, will then cut again at 7 inches. This piece here is a spare piece. You can use that for whatever you like. So get the short piece. I will get all the pieces out and tell you how big they are. In fact, I've already done them. Oh, that were hard work. So that piece we're not going to use in project, so You can use that for anything. So we now have a piece that measures 5 inches by 7 inches, and I always like to write it on mine, even if I don't use it in a project, because I've got a drawer full of scrap bits of chipboard. So that piece we need. Now this piece we're going to cut at 5 inches and 7 inches. We're going to cut it into two. One will measure 7 inches by 7 inches. The other will measure 7 inches by 5 inches. So let's do that. Sometimes I like to cut at bottom on this trimmer. It's less likely that it's going to move. And sometimes I forget. So that piece now measures 5 inches by 7 inches, which is what we want. So we now have 2 pieces of our cover. They are, as near as damn it, the same size. Because the chipboard is never perfectly 12 by 12, they might differ slightly, but that is not going to matter. No one's going to measure it when you've made it. So now this piece we've got left that measures 7 inches by 7 inches, we're going to cut that into 3 pieces to make our third part of the cover and the 2 spines. Yeah, so one spine is going to be 1 inch wide and one's going to be a little bit bigger at 1 inch and 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to take my 7-inch piece, I'm going to pop it in, and I'm going to come along 1 inch. Yeah, and I'm going to cut. That is now my 1 inch by 7 inch spine, 1 by 7. This time I'm going to come across by 1 inch and 1/16 of an inch and cut. That then gives me my 1 and 1/16 of an inch size piece and by 7, and my 4 and 5/16 of an inch piece by 7. I do hope you followed that. If not, rewind, watch that again. I'll put this back in shot for you to have a look at. Yeah, if you're not using 12 by 12 chipboard, you just need the pieces in these 5 sizes. 2 pieces that measure 5 by 7, a piece that measures 4 and 15/16 by 7, 2 spine pieces, one measuring 1 and 1/16 by 7, and one measuring 1 by 7. Yeah, so I'm going to put that away now, and we'll move on to the next step. So you've seen me cut all those. Did I measure it? Yeah, I marked them all up. Now what I'm going to do with these is wrap them. I'm using brown wrapping paper. Yeah, this is the thick stuff. I don't even know if this came off a roll I'd bought, or looking at it, I think this might have been wrapped around something. Oh, I know. This might have been wrapped around some tissue paper, because I buy mine in big rolls, you know, for packing my orders. I think this was the wrapping that was around that. Right, so what we're going to do, I'm just going to roll this the opposite way to stop it curling. It's not going to make it completely flat, but it helps a bit. Put it a little bit tighter, it helps even more. There we go. It's not as bad now, is it? So I'll pop that. Oh, just use a roll of tape, woman. Use a roll of tape. I'll stick one at each end. There you go. Job's a good one. So I'm going to wrap each piece separately. I find this much easier way to put things like this together. You could lay them all out like that's one piece, that's your spine, glue them all down. But if you've got them a bit wonky, it's not going to come together properly. So I like to wrap them all separately at this point. It makes my life much easier. So we're going to glue these bits of chipboard down. Leave yourself, I'd say at least 1 inch on either side. So I've cut my piece of paper already to 9 inches. Turn it over, you can see its size. Because that's 5 by 7. So I've cut mine to 9 inches already. And what I'm going to use to stick mine down with is my Scotch ATG gun. Yeah, it's like double-sided tape, but it's on a roll and it makes it easier. I don't expect everyone's got these. They were expensive. The tape's very expensive. I now use it's more of a business tool. It makes my life easier because it saves me time. Time is money, isn't it? It is when you're self-employed. So I'm gonna roll all the way around. Like I said, you do this with double-sided tape or a glue of your choice. Fabric-Tac and 3-in-1 would be good for this. I don't personally use them because I don't like feel on my fingers and they aggravate my asthma. You could use Kalal, which is a brand of glue that I do like using, but I want it to dry quick, this, because I want to move on to the next step quickly. Glue is very much personal choice in it. So I'm going to pop that down. I've got a rip there, so I'm just going to come in a bit because I don't want any problemos. Right, so that's that one down. Then I'm going to cut this off now, because if I start sticking them all on in a row, see, it doesn't even matter that I'm not being straight because it's all going to get covered up. There you go. I mean, I'm using brown paper. You could wrap it in a digital of your choice. I wouldn't suggest really thick scrapbook paper because, yeah, it does have a tendency to crack sometimes. And when you're wrapping around a piece of chipboard, what you're really doing is you're putting two creases very close together. And, yeah, I had lots of problems with things like that cracking in my mini album days. Right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut across these corners, not right up to the chipboard, about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to grab my pencil or my pen, whatever comes to hand first, and I'm just going to make a mark there. I find you can buy tools that help you do this, but I tend to do this, so I know I'm going to cut where that black line is. And it doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be exact. It's about 1/8 of an inch. And I've done that by guesstimation. Then I'm going to cut across. There we go. And I'm going to do that all 4 corners. Sorted. I'm going to put them in bin. I know there's a tendency for me to want to keep them bits of paper, small as they may be, but it's just lunacy, isn't it? Right, I'm going to fold these over. I like to give them a fold over first before I put any glue on. I just think it makes them then fold easier when you want to put your glue on. You can even get one of them to do it. Whee! Whee! I don't know where it wee comes from, me. It's just a habit. I can't stop. Right. So again, I'm going to use my ATG tape. Makes my life easy. So I'm going to start by folding this one over first. No, I'll start on a long one. Doesn't really matter, but I think it might be easier to show it you. So I put a line of tape on that edge, and then I put a line of tape on edge of chipboard. That basically gets it covered. If I were using double-sided tape, I'd do the same. I put a line down there and a line down edge. And what I normally do is I bring this to my chest to pull it over. So this, oh, we've done it. So you're just pulling that over. This is why I like ATG. Haha. It rolls up and comes off. I love any glue that rolls up and comes off, but still sticks like nobody's business. And any glue you use is going to stick better if you burnish it. It's something to do with pressure and heat. I'm not a scientist. But it is. Right. Now, these bits here, I use my bone folder. You can use end of a paintbrush. Works. In fact, I'll do this first one with end of a paintbrush. Can you see that little bit sticking out? I could do with zooming in for this one little piece. I'm going to pause while I do it so I don't make you feel sick. Right, that's better. You can see better now. So it like overlaps. So if we were to fold that, it wouldn't look very neat, would it? So we need to deal with that. Now what I do is this. Just, can you see how it's just sort of moved it in? So then when we fold that over, that looks lovely and neat. Lovely. So now I've showed you that it's possible to do it with a paintbrush. I'm going back to my bone folder because that's what I'm comfortable using. Right. Tape, have you gone? There we go. So again, I'm going to put my tape along that edge. In fact, I put more on my mat than I've put on that. Silly woman. So I'll just pull that away. Whee! Love this tape. Get off my mat. You're not needed, not required. So I'm then going to over, get rid of the bit we don't need. And look how nice and neat that looks now. I love it. So my perfectionist side is coming out today, isn't it? But do you know, if ever you get it and you think that's not neat, don't throw a project away. Get some of them metal book corners and stick them on. Or you could even, I've got a scrap of paper here now. This can even be a nice feature. Put a scrap of paper across your front corner like that. Fold it again. Yeah, I mean, we are going to be matting some paper onto the front. It's not gonna kill your project. Yes, if you mess your corner up, just do that. Right, let's do another corner now. So I'm gonna fold that in. Get my tape on. I hope I'm still in shot, you know, because I've zoomed in there. Yeah, I've got more on paper than on table this time. And I'm going to fold that over. And another lovely neat corner. Ooh. Right, last one. No, it's not last one. But on this one, we've got to do two. Get rid of that bit of glue, woman. So, this is the last one to flap over. So we've got two corners that we need to neaten up. Now sometimes, this is the first time it's happened, sometimes you might see, can you see how that's sort of come up a little bit? Because I've not got glue right to that end. I'm just going to grab my art glitter, just pop a little bit of glue under there, just to make sure that sticks down. There we go. That'll sort that problem. So that's folded in, that's folded in. And let's put the glue on this last one. So these are really mini album skills, aren't they? Making mini albums, but I do think you can make some lovely junk journals like this. Well, you've seen the one I've made. I hope you think that was lovely. Whee. So now we have one nicely wrapped piece of chipboard. And I love wrapping paper for that because it doesn't tend to crack. That's why I like to use it a lot. So that's one piece done. I am not going to make you watch me wrap every little piece, but I will just show you wrapping one at spine pieces because we're using a much smaller piece. And it does work exactly the same. But in case you're thinking, oh, I can't do it on such a small piece, I'll do one of them. So that's popped on. Cut. Doesn't even matter how neat spine is, to be honest, because most of it's going to get covered. It's going to end up being covered with tape and lace, so you won't really see it. So go ahead, and I like to put my little mark about 1/8 of an inch away. It just prevents any little accidents. Because if you cut right up to chipboard, it's not pretty. It's not pretty, but you can always sort it out, like I say, with a book corner or just an extra bit of paper stuck over. if you were wrapping the book with your final paper, it might be more of an issue. That's why I think this project is ideal for someone who is doing this for the first time. A lot of potential mistakes can be sorted pretty easily. Look at my angles. That was terrible, that weren't it? But don't matter. I'm still going to get my chipboard covered. Right. I'm going to start by tucking my end bits in. So I'm going to do this with glue. It's going to be really hard to get just the right amount of tape on that teeny tiny piece. So there we go. I've put too much glue on, but again, it don't matter. It's going to be covered. If this were my final piece, I wouldn't want glue showing all shiny and horrible like. But that's just me. So tuck that one down with your bone folder or your paintbrush. Let's do one with paintbrush. Yep. Then, well, perfect. I'm going back to glue on tape runner. That and that. Wonky donkey. Oh, what? I didn't fold these over first, so can you see it don't want to come over as easy? I forgot to do that with my rush. You know what I mean? How I folded it. Let me show you. I don't know what happened there then. I felt just to put those creases in before the final glue in. That's better. Right. So I'm going to glue this piece next. I'm going to leave that bit at the end for the last piece. Like I said, most of this gets covered, so it really doesn't matter how neat you are. I often think, when people watch me, they'll think if she can do it, I can. Yeah, you can do it. Give it a whirl, just give it a whirl. Just getting rid of all my extra glue. Now I'm going to tuck my two final bits in at the corner. I have to turn this round because I can't do it upwards. It doesn't work for me. Might work for you. And then again, yeah, I'm going to use glue on this. No way I can get that ATG tape on a teeny tiny space. Squeeze it when it comes out better. The top tip for you there. If your glue's not coming out, squeeze it a bit harder. Right. So even though I've got glue there, I'm not bothered. It's going to get covered up. So that's one spine done. And one of my covers done. So I've just got the two other covers to do and the other spine piece, which is, I've just lost it on my desk somewhere, which is me all over, isn't it? So I will be back in 2 takes with them all readily covered. So I'm back. I've got all my pieces wrapped. I forgot what I was doing then. I used glue. Silly woman. You can use glue, but the glue I used, it just wrinkled it a bit too much. So be aware of that if you're going to use wrapping paper. Always be aware of glue you're using on whatever paper you use. Test it, see if it wrinkles it first. And that wrinkled it a bit. It's not too bad. It's going to get covered. I'm not going to throw baby out with bath water. So I've got my pieces. So I'm going to lay these down. I've got a piece that's 5 by 7. That's my front cover. Then I want the wider of my 2 spines. Because I didn't write in them. I'm going to have a look. Yeah, that's my one that's 1 1/16. Then I want my other piece that's 5 by 7. That's going to go there. Then, where's that bag? Go away, bag. Then I want my other spine, which is just 1 inch thick. That goes there. And then my last piece, which is the one that's 4 15/16 by 7. That goes there. We really just want that last spine to be a bit smaller than that. And that last piece to be a bit smaller than them. Yeah, I've done it by making it a 1/16 of an inch difference. Right. Next thing, I'm going to use some Tyvek tape. I use Tyvek tape to strengthen books like this. I know, especially in the US, you get loads of envelopes made out of Tyvek. We don't over here. So I buy this because it works out more economical and a bit easier for me. It comes in, let me tell you how wide this is, if you're interested in any. I've got all these on my Amazon storefront. It's 1 inch wide, yeah. So I'm going to cut 4 pieces, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them. A piece is going to stick onto the cover, and then the spine is going to go there. I'm going to wrap it round, so I've got Tyvek both sides. Then I don't even think angry baboons are going to have a chance to rip that apart. If you don't have Tyvek, or you don't want to buy Tyvek, I have seen people use the thick plastic polythene that you get parcels wrapped in, and it does work. I've not done it because I've got enough Tyvek to last 20 years from my mini album days. So yeah, I'm going to start by cutting 4 lengths of Tyvek that are going to be, I just want it to overlap by about 1 inch. Well, it's not even 1 inch, that is it. Half an inch to 1 inch. Because I'm going to cut a separate piece of Tyvek then to go on there. So I'll show you the first one. I've cut a piece of Tyvek longer than my book. Then I'm going to cut another piece of Tyvek. Tyvek? What's Tyvek? I ain't got a clue. I'm going to cut another one a bit shorter. Yeah. Right, my Tyvek comes... My backing is in 2 halves. Which side's backing? Not that side. If you're wondering what Tyvek is, it's a synthetic material that's... It's a bit paperish. You know, when you watch CSI and they wear them suits, them white Tyvek, it's that kind of stuff. It doesn't rip. You can cut it, but it's not going to rip. So, my backing... I like to take my thin bits of my backing off. That just tells me that's about how much I'm going to stick my Tyvek over onto my book. I don't know if all Tyvek comes with backings in nicely sized bits like that. Yeah. Then I'm going to take the rest of backing off, and I'm going to put my spine on. And Tyvek's a bit like this. If you don't press it down too hard, this sticky back stuff, you could reposition it. Once you start burnishing it though, it's not moving anywhere. Right, we're going to need a gap here, because when we want to open and close our book, if they're joined together, you're going to struggle. Now the gap here depends on your liking and how much you need. As a general rule, your gap wants to be twice as thick as this. Yeah, so what you could do is this. Let me show you. This is my old trusty. I've just glued 3 bits of chipboard together because I reckon 2 bits of chipboard plus another bit of chipboard is about the same width as 2 bits of chipboard wrapped in cardo paper. So I put that there. If you've got any scraps of whatever board you've made from those, you can use them. And then I will put my... This might end up being a bit wonky. You might see me grey old head, didn't we? Because normally I stand up and put my head right over. So then I've got my nice even gap. When I used to do these all the time, I didn't even bother with that. You just know, you just eyeball it, and you know how much gap to leave. Right, so I'm now going to... But no, I'll leave that. I'll put this bit on first. Put this on first. And then I'll wrap those over after. I don't know if it really matters. I don't know why I've decided to change my mind. So I've got my shorter bit of Tyvek now. And I'm going to put that on there. Yep. Then I'm going to fold that over. I don't matter that that's not perfect. We're going to cover this again with brown paper. Brown tape. And I'm going to grab my burn folder. Do this. Now the professional people, or the people who well, might be better than me, they'll stick the hardboard together and then wrap everything all as one long row. I can't do that. It confuses my brain. I can do it if I concentrate really hard, but who wants to concentrate that hard? I certainly don't. Now I'm just folding this with my bone folder. Then what you'll find is that, you can bend it. If I could get Kraft coloured Tyvek, I'd just use Tyvek and not cover it with out else. How good is that? Just how good is that? Whee. Right, now we're going to do the same here. So, no measuring involved. I'm going to cut one a bit longer, and I'm going to cut one a bit shorter, and I'm going to go along like this until all my seams are covered, which is, how many is it going to be? Yeah, 4 altogether. What would I do if I could count? So I've took my thin bit off. I'm going to overlap my spine. No, you've done short one, woman. Do you know, it wouldn't have really mattered if I'd done that wrong. Let's do it wrong then, just for hell of it. So this time I put my short one there. And it's a bit wonky, but that doesn't matter. Take the rest of your backing off. Then I'm going to put my next piece on. I'm going to use my little depth guide. Let's try and get that lined up nice. What I'm trying to line up here is them bottoms and tops. Like I said, normally I stand up and put my head right over it and you won't be able to see a thing. Then I'll get my long piece and I'll put long piece on this side, just to prove that it doesn't really matter. I can't see, this is why it's easy the other way. I can't see how much tie I've got on each side. Oh, that'll do. Right, so fold that over. Yeah, I think first way just makes it neater, doesn't it? Look how unsightly that is. You see what I mean? But you really don't need to wrap those spines. But if you don't wrap them, they'll end up a bit shorter. And I don't know. I might not like that. So let's bend that one. So there we have a book. If you're just making one little book cover, you've got a book cover there, aren't you, ready to go? Job's a good one. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, all that shenanigans and malarkey. Right, so I'm going to do exactly the same with these two pieces. Yeah, you've seen it once. If you want to see it again, rewind a bit. I'm going to do this one and then I will be straight back. So I'm back. I've done exactly the same there as what I did there. So now we can fold that up and we'll get our book. Yeah, and you can now see why this piece had to be a 1/16 of an inch shorter, so that it will fit nicely in between the spines without, if you'd not made it shorter, that would stick out there, and I don't like that look. I just don't. So that is it. Someone asked me recently how you make a Z fold book. You do it exactly the same. The difference is you would fold that way and then fold that underneath. Can you see why it's called a Z fold? Yeah, but you wouldn't need to make that cover a little bit shorter. You could make it exactly the same length. So yeah, whoever it was, there you go. That's how you'd make a Z fold book. But we're not making one of them today. I like the whole, everything just folds out and you can see it all on your desk like that. And then we're going to have other bits and bobs going off. So next thing I'm going to do is I want to cover this white. Now, how you cover that depends on what you're going to decorate with. I want to decorate with design papers, and I'm going to put some fabric on the outside over the spines. I'm going to use this lace, to be honest, if it's wide enough. It might not be. I think I've got some wider in the drawer. If it's not wide enough, I'll put 2 pieces on, like that. I'll figure something out. We're not quite sure what we're doing with that yet. Right, I'm going to use this. It's framers tape. It's the brown tape that picture framers use, you know, to hold the backing onto the actual picture frame. It's not tear proof, but I find this much harder to tear than ordinary packing tape. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to outside of my book. No, I'm going to go to inside of my book, because the outside's covered with lace, and I'm going to put some strips of this up and down. So I just want to cover that white. Yeah. I'm going to fold that over onto outside, and then I'm going to come over I'm going to take it just there to cover itself. And you can tear this. Ta-da! That way, don't want to tear like this. It's stretchy. Can you see? This is why I like it. But to tear across, you can do it. Very clever. So I'm just going to do that all the way along. I'll do one at this end first. Just covering my white up. If you prefer to use paint, use paint. I don't really like art that gets me too messy. I'm a bit of a wuss. So like this. I'm going to go a bit further with this because I put it on a bit wonky. But again, on this outside, look, I've got a wrinkle there. Not really bothered. I'm going to cut that with scissors because I want to make sure it covers that white. Just burnish your wrinkle out. I like to burnish the whole tape anyway. I just at this point want it to look neater on the inside than the out, because the inside's not going to have lace on. But we are going to put design paper on. No, don't cut it yet. Don't cut it, woman. Do you know what you're actually doing? I don't think you do. There we go. Cut it. So when that's all burnished down, yeah, you can see the white through a little, but I'm not too bothered. I just don't want it glaringly bright white up at the top and everywhere like that. So I'm going to do the same to this one. I think your Tyvek envelopes in the US, they're not always white, or they can be grey, which I suppose is a much better colour. So I took that. It's very sticky, this tape. Very sticky indeed. There you go. I managed to tear it that time. Now I've stuck it to itself there, so I've lost that bit of tape. When I've done these spines, no one is tearing these apart. Not even them angry baboons. I'm going to turn this one upside down to do it, just so I've got two joins in exactly the same place, which might add to bulk on the other side, so I don't want my last two joins, my last join in the same place. You'll see what I mean in a sec when I turn this over. Like that, I've got them both there. I've just moved this one further down. And I've also not quite covered. Look how this tape's got a bit of a stretch to it. That's why I like it. Another reason, there's lots of reasons I like this tape. Too many to remember. So let's give all that a real good burnish. And then it's going to go nowhere. It's a lot stickier than regular brown parcel tape. So if you're buying this and you're buying it from Amazon, be wary, because there are some people selling it as parcel tape when it's, sorry, selling it as frames tape when it's just parcel tape. And parcel tape is really good at not wanting to stick to itself. You'll know this if you pack a lot of parcels. Right, I'm just putting my creases back in. So, there we go. Hey, I'm liking. And it's a little bit more solid now. We're going to do a closure for this, so it will stay closed. I quite like it. So I'm just going to quickly say, I decided I'm going to end that video there for today and do the rest in a second part. Which when I paused, I didn't know I was going to do that. So I didn't have an end to the video. So I'm here, just with an end. So thank you very much for watching. You now know how to put the bones of your journal together. And in the next part, you'll see me do this. Okay? Thank you. See you next time. Bye.